in a field across the road. Today they're there. This afternoon about 4 o'clock, we'll move them below the garden. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we'll move into the next paddock. We move them from paddock to paddock to paddock. They graze everything evenly, weeds, thistles, burdock, the whole deal. Everything has a chance to come back in its salad bar. And then we move off, and we let it go through this blaze of growth, this juvenile fast growth period, so that it can go into 4th and 5th and highway gear, okay? And that allows it to really accelerate. So we call this mob stocking, herbivorous solar conversion, lignified carbon sequestration, fertilization. And if everybody in the U.S. raising cattle would raise them this way, in fewer than 10 years, we would sequester all the carbon that's been emitted since the beginning of the industrial age. That's the truth. Now that beats cap and trade all to pieces. Okay? And so, you know, the beauty is we have the answer. But, you know, but that kind of solution, it puts money in the farmer's pocket instead of the pockets of Wall Street, you know, fat cats who didn't get concessions out of the taxpayer largesse to line their special agendas. You know, we're enamored of big and sophisticated and technological everything, you know, and really the answers are extremely simple. I mean, the problem of the human condition is we like to take all this very simple stuff, you know, how to have a happy marriage and how to, you know, raise kids and how to, you know, find herbs for medication and eat simply, you know, all. And man, we complicate everything. We eat stuff we can't pronounce. We eat stuff you can't make in your kitchen. We make feedlots. We get big John Deeres and till up everything and all this natural perennial salad bar. We plow it up and plant a simple. I mean, you know, we build Tyson chicken houses and confinement factories, and anyway, we make a lot of complications on things. Bottom line, I'll go to questions. We got about time for about 3 or 4 questions. Bottom line is, often there's a tension, a philosophical tension, isn't there, between ecology and economy? And there's kind of an axiom in our culture that if we're going to be environmentally proper, we have to sacrifice the economy, and if we're going to be economically profitable, we have to sacrifice the environment. That's kind of a given. I'm here to tell you we can have them both. We can have them both. They don't have a tension. We just the weak link. The weak link is what my son Daniel calls constipation of imagination. You know, the weak link is between our ears, you know, to be able to access and figure out how do we most closely duplicate this. So, in Augusta County, the average cow days per acre in Augusta County, a cow day is what one cow will eat in a day. Like the food that you eat today is 1 person day of food. Everybody with me? All right. So a cow day is what 1 cow will eat in a day. In Augusta County, the average cow days per acre in Augusta County is 80. In other words, look at all the pasture in the county, all the grasslands. The average is that those grasslands will feed 80 cows for 1 day a year, or 1 cow for 80 days a year. Everybody with me? 80 cow days per acre. We, for decades now, have averaged more than 400 cow days per acre, and we have never bought a bag of chemical fertilizer in 55 years. We've never planted a seed in 55 years.
That's
okay?
awesome.
That's not bragging. That's just bringing glory to the way the pattern was designed, the way it works. All right, questions. We'll take 3 or 4 questions, and then we'll run on to the pigs. Yes?
No. In an area where you get a fair amount of snowfall in the winter, what do they eat in the winter?
In the area where they get a lot of snowfall in the winter, well, of course, we get some snow in the winter, and so then we feed hay, okay? And we'll talk about feeding hay at the end when we talk about the pigs in the hay sheds, the way we feed hay, okay? Great question.
How long
We'll
do
get
you
to that.
rest?
Now, let me say this about that, though, that we because of this very tight management, what it means is that we go way farther into the winter on what we call stockpiled grass, on grass that we've enabled to accumulate to nursing home status, okay, because of this tight management. So even though we're running way more animals per acre, our average hay feeding is only 40 days a winter. The average in our county is 120 days of hay feeding a winter. We average 40. That's a difference of 80 days of mechanically harvested, mechanically stored, mechanically fed material. That's the difference between profit and loss. The less hay you feed, the more that's the single biggest profitability aspect of herbivores, is stored feed. Yeah, great question. Yes, wait, yes, sir. The question is a certain breed of cow we're looking for. We are totally colorblind. What we're looking for is what we call state-of-the-art 1950s genetics. And those are genetics before the feedlots. And what that means is we want a small cow. Most of our cows won't weigh over 1,000 pounds. Okay? We want little short legs. We want a toothpick, a barrel on toothpick. Okay? Because you don't make a lot of money in leg bone, and the price of the air under the stomach is really not worth much. Okay? The industry has selected big bone, big body animals because in the fabrication business, all right, think about this. In the fabrication business, if I've got a rib primal and I'm cutting on the bandsaw, right? Well, it's a lot more efficient to make a cut that's 20 inches long than two cuts that are 10 inches long. Are you with me? And so the fabrication, the processing, the processing industry is what has driven the size of animals to become very large, so that in processing, you're processing Duplos instead of Legos. And you have, and so from a fabrication standpoint, it's cheaper to handle an 800-pound carcass than a 500-pound carcass, because the mechanics are roughly the same. The difference is you've got a lot more volume per each setup phase. All right, but that is exactly opposite what you want for efficient grass finishing and vitality, actually on the land, with no vaccines, no medications, no grain inputs. We want easy keepers, all right? Animals that look at a burdock leaf and get fat. That's what we're looking for. And that's not going to be a 1,500-pound Charolais cow. That's going to be a little 900-pound, Red Angus or, Kelpie or some off-brand snake oil looking thing. Okay. So our herd looks like a Heinz 57. That said, we are saving our own bulls, and we are line breeding and retaining our own bulls and doing that. We won't go buy them, but if you look at Daniel's rabbits, Daniel's had these rabbits since he was 8 years old. He's now, whatever he is, 33. 25 years he's had these rabbits, and never, get this, 25 years, never brought in an outside genetic in 25 years. Now, I can hear the well-educated, oh, we got an incestuous thing. Have you ever looked at the tree of the Israelites? I mean, it's like first cousin, second cousin. I mean, okay. All right. This was called purity. All right. Now there is certainly a place where incestuousness can have a problem. All right. But nature, wildlife. Look, does anybody go out here in the park where all the squirrels are, the gray squirrels, and say, "Whoa, wait a minute. What do you call a male squirrel?" Anybody know what you call a male squirrel?
Male
All
squirrel.
right, let's talk about deer instead. Deer, bucks and does, right? Okay, so the deer out here, does anybody go out here and say, you know, this buck here might breed his mother next year, so we better come in here with a SWAT team and a rappelling team on a helicopter, you know, a big, one of these big two-rotor jobbies, right? And we better come in and pick out some of these bucks and take them 50 miles up here so they can breed those, bring some of them back here. Otherwise, we're gonna have a messed up deer herd. Anybody do that? No. And yet, how do the deer survive? They do just fine, and they got all they got you know, fathers breeding daughters and sons breeding mothers, and they got all sorts of funny stuff going on, right? But there's enough randomness in it to make it work, and that's kind of what we're doing with the cattle. One more question and we're going to go. Yes, ma'am. Great question. The question is, when we rotate them every day, how long is the rest period before they come back to it? All right. That depends completely on the season, how fast the grass is growing, because the amount of time that it takes for the grass to recuperate all of its energy and get back to what we call energy surplus varies depending on how fast the grass grows. Now that can depend on hot and cold, dry and moisture. It can depend on day length. It can depend on fertility. There's a lot of factors that affect that. So that rest period will vary. So here's the point. Our electric fence is portable. Think about our permanent fence is like the rungs on a ladder. The stringers on a ladder, and our daily is a portable rung. So we can expand and contract those rungs depending on what we need. So we have an infinite number of patterns. We have an infinite number of ways to configure the daily plate. And we move them rigidly every 24 hours, and we give them that daily plate every 24 hours and flex the rest time depending on how the grass grows. Okay, everybody on the wagons, and we'll head to the pigs.